We do. We need to talk about Michigan State because what happened last night, was that the result of a team that just spent however many days, what was it, 2.5 weeks in quarantine? 20 days in self-isolation and quarantine in a hotel room where COVID kind of ripped through the team? Or was this a sign of something bigger with the Michigan State program?
Well, judging by the fact that their net rating right now is 101, which is 21 points lower than Kentucky's and 19 points lower than Duke's, I would say it's an indication more of overall Michigan State. But I think it's both. I think obviously you can't discount their scoring woes last night. I mean, 37 points is I can't even believe it from having a 20-day layoff. But they're not good. They're not good. Their point guard play, again, the one common denominator among Kentucky, Duke, and Michigan State is all having a lackluster point guard play for the most part. And you can't win at a high level consistently. You can win a game here, a game there. You can beat crappy teams, but you're not going to beat good teams in conference play without quality point guard play, and none of them have it.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And Michigan State is very much a flawed team. And I don't even know if at full strength they would go into the RAC and beat Rutgers. But this, to me, was very much a performance of a team that was coming off of a pretty bad COVID shutdown.
It was like 17-2 out of the gate. Like, I'd love to know that. What the first 10 minutes of any team that's had a shutdown of more than 14 days is.
So for the most part, like it's all going to be anecdotal, but where I've had success with this is betting leaving the first half alone and then just betting the second half. Because what I've seen is like these guys, you come out and you got your adrenaline,
energy, you're excited.
Yeah, and you got your legs. It's like, I'm finally back on the court. I'm not in a hotel room anymore. And you come out and you're jumping for like 20 minutes. And then you go to that locker room and then you sit down and then there's like the pause and everything kind of relaxes and you have to go back out there and get yourself re-energized again. And all of a sudden you're like, wow, I don't have the energy that I thought I was going to have. My legs are gone. Maybe I'm not in shape. Maybe it's very obvious. I just spent 8 days trapped in a hotel room doing nothing but like burpees on the hotel room floor. So to me, it's been fading these teams in the second, regardless of what happens in the first half, fade them in the second half.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, listen, I just maybe Michigan State can make a run and get in the tournament because the Big Ten is so good. I just hope the committee doesn't say like, well, because of ratings, if Michigan State is close or Duke is close, we're going to take them. Like, I hope they don't pull that shit this year. To me, again, I don't know, and we can talk about this. It's a good segue into. To me, the most important win last night was Stanford at Arizona. I really believe that. And I wrote something about Stanford, and I really hope that the committee gives Stanford the benefit of the doubt. They're good anyway. They are. They've proven. They've got some good wins. They just went into Tucson and McHale and beat Arizona pretty good. And Arizona was pretty –
honestly, I don't think that you have to worry about it with Stanford. Like, as long as they didn't do anything horrible the rest of the season – like they have what? They have 11 games left. Yeah. As long as they win like 6 of them, I think that they're probably in.
I hope you're right.
And they have 5 games against Cal, Washington, and Washington State. You win those, and then like you get.
That's a good call.
You win those 5. You beat Utah. You beat Arizona State on Saturday, and you get one. You get one of USC, Colorado, or Oregon. And they're in. You got to remember the first game of the season. You probably don't even remember this.
Oh, I do.
The first game of the season, they beat Alabama by 18.
I do. That's a great win now. Great.
They swept Arizona on the road, or they swept Arizona, including a win on the road. Yep. Right. Yep. They got a win over UCLA. So it's they're as long as they don't do anything horrible the rest of the year, like they're in. And the thing about them is they might be better without all those guys.
Well, the big question is does Zhaire Williams come back? I know I said some things about Jalen Johnson that were a little cryptic earlier this year, but there was some thought that Jalen Johnson was not going to be back at Duke. My sources, there's some thought that Zhaire Williams is not going to be back at Stanford. So
yeah, I've heard similar things that he kind of proved himself. He wasn't getting the attention that he thought that he would get playing in the Pac-12, and the biggest thing was just like the toll of living in a hotel it's just like it's straining on you. And another thing that I've heard, and you can probably speak to this a little bit more, is that like not everyone on that Stanford team was getting along all that well, which is part of the reason why, like, okay, maybe some guys are missing, and now they're more connected. They're winning games. Like this, look, even without Zhaire, without Dejon Davis, and even without Bryce Wells, like there are still some really good players on. Like Oscar De Silva's a stud.
Yes,
right. Jaden Delaire's a good player. Spencer Jones can do things. Like he's a useful guy.
Donald, the freshman point guard's pretty good. Like
so like there's still good players on that roster. So it's even without those guys, I still think that they're probably good enough to be a tournament team. And obviously they just beat UCLA and they won at Arizona without those two guys.
Without them. That's right. Now they're not deep. That's going to be the issue. Is if they have any other, injuries or whatnot, can they withstand them? They're not deep right now. But
you gotta kind of hope like, okay, we weather the storm. Eventually we are going to get Dejon and Bryce Wills back, as long as it's not a disaster. And then hey, you know what? If they're getting back on the campus and Zhaire Williams comes back and he's rejuvenated and he's like, okay, I got home, I saw my family.
I don't think it's Zhaire. I don't think it's Zhaire what's going on. I think it's somebody in his ear. It usually is.
No, that's absolutely what it is. So when you have the combination of someone in your ear, right? You have the combination of you're not getting the attention you expected, and you combine all of that with the fact that like you're not living on campus, you're living in a hotel. Right. Like that sounds awful.
And you're still a lottery pick. No matter what you have or have not done this year on the court, you're still a lottery pick. You have not hurt yourself.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I'm like, okay, I'm like, if he does not enjoy what he's doing, right, then like go ahead. Like go ahead and do what you got to do to make yourself happy, man. Like I get it. Living in a hotel for however many months sucks, right? And if you're like, if I just go home and work out, like I'll be just as good, and I'm still gonna get picked high, and I'm not gonna have to deal with this shit that I hate doing. Like, can't really hate on anybody for that too much. All right, you got anything else from last night?
Kansas finally winning. It wasn't pretty. It was really ugly, but they at least snapped their 3-game losing streak against TCU at home. And again, listen, this Kansas team, I'm not completely ruling them out, but the more I see of them, the more I'm like, they're just not that good.